Hey traders, welcome back to my channel where we don't just create expert advisors and indicators, we unlock the full potential of MQL5. So this mini-series titled Step Index Intelligence is a journey or rather a mission to study step index beyond what a manual trader could see with the help of algorithms. And in my own opinion, the best way to gain an edge or to build a robust trading system is to give yourself to studying the pair or the commodity in question. So you shouldn't blind just wake up one morning and start combining indicators, RSI crossover plus moving average plus blah equals to a sell condition or a buy condition. No, that's not the best approach. The best approach is to actually give yourself to study the desired commodity to know how it actually behaves. As for step index or the synthetic market, you know that the lot size calculations are not same. So you shouldn't use the Euro USD lot size calculation or something for boom and crash and others. So this series will help us to clear the fog and could actually end up giving us an edge, like to create a robust trading system for step index. So let's get started. Let's get right into coding. So first, you create a new template. We'll work with custom indicator in this. The step analyzer will be a custom indicator in order to enable us to, let's say you have an expert advisor running on a chart, you can actually use a custom an indicator to do your analysis, just to check what you want to check without disturbing the workflow of the expert advisor. So that is a good reason we should work with expert. What should we name it? Let's name it step analyzer. I think so. Now let me clear this out, like set it how I prefer. Let's compile. No error. So firstly, you will notice this description, a historical market analyzer that loads bar data between selected dates, calculates candle range and tick values, and saves the output to a CSV file for further analysis. So this is just a short description of what our program step analyzer would do. We will have to work with time values. We have to analyze, let's say the user will give the program a given time range to analyze to know how many moves it gave on a Sunday, on a Monday, and to know the tick size, the tick volume, to know the pips it could actually generate. So first, let's start with the inputs. The input. Let's name this input group analyzer settings inputs So like I said, we work with datetime values in order to specify the time range we want to analyze. Datetime start date equals to the 2025. Let's just start with November 2025, and we will add an inline comment. Let's call it analysis start date. Let's compile, no errors. We do same for the end date. End date equals 2025 11:30. We'll call this analysis and end date. Let's compile, no errors. So first we start with MQL rates. Yeah, I think, because we work with rates. And remember, we will write to a CSV file that will enable us to actually visualize how many pips was generated or something. So next we file handle equal to invalid handle, compile, 0 errors. So next we need to make sure that the selected time range by the user is available on the chart. So first we have to validate input. If start date is less than, I think, yes. How do we do this? We'll do that using series info integer. Yeah, that will help us. That is what we first we specify the symbol period current. If the start date is less than the first date on the chart, if it is less than the first date on the chart, so if the start date specified by the user is less than the first date of the bar on the chart, then the date selected by the user is invalid. So we print invalid start date input. I think invalid. Let's go with that. Start date input. Then we return init parameter incorrect. Let's compile, no errors. Yeah. Let's zoom this in order for you to see it clearly. So if start date is less than the first bar date on the chart, we print invalid start date. And if end date, we'll do that for is greater than datetime series info integer. Yeah. For symbol period current. If end date is greater than last bar date. So on line 25, we validated the end date input to ensure that the date specified by the user to be the end date is not greater than the last bar date. This means series last bar date means the last bar, the date of the last bar on the chart. If so, we print invalid end date input. We return init parameter incorrect. We compile, no errors. Let's zoom this in. Yeah, no errors. Let me show you this step index analyzer. So what we just did will help us to ensure that the date specified by the user. Let's say, let me just raise an error here. Let me use 1997, which we all know that this date is no longer available on the chart. Is not available. 1998, and let's see. Let's print OK. You see, invalid start date input. Invalid start date input. This helps us to ensure that whatever time range the user specifies is available on the chart. So let's remove this. Let's clear the log and back to coding. So next, we set array setter series rates true. We compile. Yes. So next, on calculate, we do nothing actually here. We compile, no errors, no warning. So next, we create a custom procedure, a procedure that will help us to analyze. So void, we name it data analyst. I think that's a cool name. Strange, we set the parameters symbol in time frame tf. What next? Date time value from date. Date time value to date. I think to date. What next? MQL rate. Best array. Yeah, I think this should be it. Let's compile. No errors. So here also we need to also validate the inputs. If from date is greater or equals to date, we return. Compile, no errors. So here we reset last error, which is actually important. Next, we copy data for the given time range. Copy data. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. Data equals copy rate for symbol. No, we use the input, the parameter cf from date to date. We copy, no, we save whatever data into the next array. So if data, no, integer data, copy rate symbol, yeah, I think we are good to go. Let's compile, no errors. So if data is less than or equal to 0, we will have to display to the journal print copy rate returned. I think this returned bars no data. I think this data will return, we do nothing. Let's compile, no error, 0 warning. So next we work with the file. If file handle, if let's go this way, if file handle equal to file open. So what name should we give this? Let's just not use hard-coded value like step analyzer. Let's work with the symbol. That means you could actually use this for any pair or commodity that you wish, but the main purpose was for step CSV file symbol plus analysis file write and file CSV. If file handle this is equal to invalid handle, let's compile, no errors. If is equal to invalid handle, we print to the journal print failed to open CSV file, error equals, let's use last error here, and we return, we do nothing else. Compile, 0 error, 0 warning. And what next? What next? Now let's loop through the copied data. No, let's clear this. For int w equal to 0, w less than data, w plus plus, compile, no errors. So next we want to write each value, each analysis to the file. Each result of the analysis, we want to write it to the file write file handle. First, we want to write the time. We want to specify the time. Let's use time to string. Dest array w dot time. I think time date and time minutes. Want to let's just come let me add the comment date. The date. Next we want to specify the day of week. If it's a Sunday, a Monday or a Tuesday. The easiest way to do this here is to, let's say, here we MQL date time, date. Here time to struct, dest array w dot time bracket date. I think this is the easiest way we can do that here now. And next, we want to specify the day of the week using this date MQ date time value here. We enum to string, I think, enum day of week. Yeah. And now we date dot day of week. Date dot day of week. Day of week. Let's add a comment. What next? We want to specify the total pips step index generated for this date on line 62. We want to specify the total pips is generated, if it's a daily time frame for the date or for the bar. So next we do double to string. I think that will be dest array wi minus dest array w low. This will give us the pips generated for the daily bar or whatever time frame. Unless we do that with digits. Let me comment total pips generated. I think we are good to go. What next? Let's specify the tick. Let's specify the tick volume in integer to string dest array w dot tick volume. I think this gives us the ticks generated, the number of ticks generated, and we add this here. Let's compile first. Cannot convert to integer. Time, okay, time to struct, sorry. Here we need time to struct. Let's compile. 0 error, 0 warnings. I think we are good to go. And outside the loop, we close the file handle. Let's compile. I think we are good to go. Line 62, we got the date. 63, we got the day of the week. If it's a Monday, a Tuesday, or Wednesday. On line 64, we got the total pips generated for that day or time frame. On line 65, we got the tick volume, the ticks generated. I think we are good to go. Now let's go back to on init, and here we call data analyst for symbol, period, current, from, date. No, I think it starts. What's happening here? Current, start date, end date, our rates array. Let's compile. I think we are good to go. Let's run our program. Let's see. Step analyzer for November. Yeah. Let me show you something here. If let's say for the end date, you specify a date like 31, you will see that it won't show up based on the month November does not have the date 31st. It only has what? 30. It only has 30. That was just a little clue. Here we have the description, a historical market analyzer that loads bar data between selected dates, calculates the candle range and tick value, and saves the output to a CSV file for further analysis. Let's run the program. I think so. That means, let's say, after each analysis, we should print to show that we are done. I think analysis complete. I think so. Let's compile. Analysis complete. So let's go and check out the CSV file. File, open data folder. This is just, we are trying to visualize the CSV file. Go to MQL5, files, we have step index analyzer because we performed the test on step index. Let's open the file to see. Come on, bro, come on. What's happening? Why the delay? Let's wait for it to come on. It should be up by now. Analysis complete and what? And now it's up. Yeah. Here we can actually visualize the test or our analysis. We could see the dates, the day of the week, and here you could see that it has this Saturday because we ran the test on the 4-hour time frame. So 4-hour time frame. Yes, let's go back and do that for a daily time frame. Failed to open CSV file because the file is still open. Now let's close it. Let's run it let's just clear this and compile. It should open now because the file is no longer open. Come on. We should have analysis complete. Now let's get back to and view it. Let's view the CSV file in question to see the analysis. And here we have the values on a Sunday, on a Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and so on. So here we have the dates and the time values. On the B roll, we have the day of the week. If it's a Sunday, on a Monday, Tuesday, and so on. Then on the C, we have the total moves per day, because we ran the test on a daily time frame. So here on line 1, we have 64.2 pips. That tells us that on the given date, which is on a Sunday, step index generated 64.2 pips. And the ticks is usually, if you look closely, the ticks are usually close to 86,400. The ticks are usually close to 86,400. So the tick value are constant, just close to 86,400. And here it generated 39 pips, 45 pips. So, and this has actually given us an edge of how much we should expect. That means if you are an intraday trader and you are expecting 100 pips for step index, you are stuck in the maze, because with our analysis here, there was no date it actually generated 100 pips. The highest on the list here was on this date, 80, I think so. No, on this Saturday, on the 15th of November, it generated 84 pips. And that seems to be the highest within this time range we specified. So you can actually test this out. You can test it out throughout the past year, the previous year, and so on. And this will actually give you an edge. So with the given analysis, minimum, like the least expected pips that step index should generate, let's just go with 30 pips. Yes, despite the fact we have 23.7, but if you look closely, you can see like most of the days came with the value greater than 30. So setting your TP to, let's say, 20 pips for step index wouldn't be a bad idea, but it would be impossible to be a scalper or a intraday trader and set your TP to 100 pips. Bro, like, they are just working without backed up data. So this small program now has already helped us to achieve a lot. And if you specify a wider range for, let's say, for a year, you could actually come up with something that you could turn to an edge. Let's say maybe you find out, maybe on another pair or something, that on a Mondays, it usually gives so amount of pips, let's say 33. You have tested it for it has a for consecutive times, many times it generated this fixed amount.